Our core belief is that the best brands build their businesses around their best fit customers. You have to leverage routine. You have to leverage routine. You have to figure out what their daily life looks like. You have to leverage subscriptions, and you have to build a compelling subscription experience that goes through the entire customer journey, through conversion. Our friend Brian did a really great job here, through retention, through growth, really understanding the entire journey and how routine and subscription experience fits into that.
For our final education piece, Jen, please join me on the stage.
The stage is a little bit more pants friendly than it is skirt friendly. Hi everyone, it is great to be here. I am Jen Gray and I'm the SVP of Marketing for Recharge. And Recharge powers subscriptions and retention for routine-driven brands. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about the psychology of routine and how to tap into that. Like Taylor said, it's fucking rough out there, right? Like investing funding is low. The margin of error for a brand that makes it is super, super slim. So we're gonna talk about how to leverage routine to be a brand that lasts. So earlier this summer, I was talking to a brand who had just come off of these rounds of investor calls, right? And the number one question they were asked was, who is your ideal customer profile? And I love this question because investors get so much out of this. I come from big tech, I don't come from e-commerce, I come from companies like Qualtrics and Adobe. And our series raises from Series A through Series D, this is the question we were asked. Because it's a sneaky way for investors to get a sense of how high your ceiling is, like how long you're gonna be around and how long can you sell to these people? And more importantly, how low your floor is, what a risk you are. When investors ask this question, they get a sense of, well, who is your ideal customer profile? i.e., how healthy is your go-to-market motion? How efficient is this, right? Are you wasting money on people that will probably never purchase or purchase once and never return? Or are you having a really healthy go-to-market motion that's efficient and that will pay for itself over time? They're getting a sense of what your TAM is, how long you can sell to your TAM, and the longevity of your TAM, right? And they're getting a sense of how well is product diversification going to work for you, right? The more you know your customer, the better you have this chance of sort of selling many things to them. And they get a sense of your healthy business, right? Your ideal customer profile is typically your subscribers. They get a sense of how healthy a queue of repeating business is for you. And they get a sense of sort of your CAC and your LTV ranges, your gross margin, and what your healthy competitive positioning is and your competitive advantage. You get so much value out of knowing your ICP, right? It sharpens everything in your business. It sharpens your marketing. I mean, I'm a marketer, so I'm biased, but it sharpens your marketing. It sharpens your messaging, and it makes you a healthy, repeatable business, right? It helps you guide product development. And for routine-driven brands, again, this is subscribers. So Recharge just hit 100 million subscribers this spring over all of our brands. And what we found was you might take a hit on first-time AOV, on a first purchase, but for subscribers, over time, they become more valuable. Over time, that gap keeps getting bigger. So even though you may get a hit on one-time AOV for a subscriber, they're gonna pay for themselves a couple times over, and that gap keeps getting bigger the longer that they're subscribed. So your ideal customer profile. I have taken many teams through this exercise before. Like, we call these persona cards in marketing. How many of your teams have walked you through an exercise like this? Anyone? Ideal customer profile? Yes. They typically look something like this, right? We call them funny things like Tech Savvy Ted and Busy Bonnie, right? We're gonna call this one Juggling Jen because your girl is juggling a lot. But these persona cards typically focus on things like demographics, who your customers are. It doesn't say anything about what they want, what their behaviors are. So let's break this down. For Juggling Jen, I am an elder millennial. I hate to break it to all of you if you're a millennial, but millennials are considered solidly middle-aged right now. I know, I'm middle-aged. It's hard to take. Enough of that. So I'm already concerned about what time and gravity are starting to do to my body. I live in Salt Lake City, so my skin is constantly ravaged by the dry desert sun. It's very refreshing to be in San Diego. It's very humid, it's very nice. I work for a very busy tech company, so your girl's a little haggard. And I have a very moody and very busy teenage daughter who is just as busy as I am, minus the ability to drive herself anywhere. So I'm in a car almost my entire life. So the older I get, the less time I have. Time by far is my most precious resource because there just isn't enough. There isn't enough to accomplish all the things that I want. So this means that I am fanatical about my routine. I am fanatical about my routine because my routine is my ability to get all that I want out of my day, right? I want all of the little moments of joy. I want all the structure. I want all the benefits without having to think too hard about it, right? I want to spend as little time thinking about my day and the little decisions I have to make as possible. Bottom line, I am busy, I am bougie, and I hold majority purchasing power for my household. And I'm an ideal consumer because I love a good product, and I love a good product because I love the brand promise. That's actually what I'm purchasing. I'm not purchasing products, I'm purchasing your brand promise of better skin, healthy hair, a seamless morning routine, right? I'm buying your brand promise. And when it doesn't take a ton to acquire me as a customer, in fact, if you were just to kind of target me with a good Instagram ad, like there's a 90% chance I'm gonna try and I'm gonna purchase it. But the question is, will I return? Will I subscribe? Will I add this to my routine? I don't know. When my Instagram looks like this, and my YouTube, which I watched this morning while I was getting ready, looks like this, right? Build the ideal wellness routine, build the ideal morning skincare routine, wake up before 4 a.m., here's why. I am constantly chasing the dragon. I am constantly chasing what's gonna get me to my goals as easily and quickly as possible. Fear of missing out drives millennial experiential behavior. I think something like 75% of millennials experience fear of missing out, and it drives us to show up. It drives us to purchase. It drives our purchasing decisions. And this chokehold of missing out has it led me to a lot of things this year. So in the last year, I have tried 9 different sunscreens. And it looks like a lot of you need some sunscreen. So if you ping me after, I will send you some sunscreen. The sun is intense out there. I have tweaked my skincare routine 14 different times. I have switched from tea to coffee to matcha to back to tea, and now I'm dabbling in no caffeine. Just going raw. I've tried every protein vehicle out there. I've tried the chips, I've tried the cookies, I've tried the donuts, the Pop-Tarts. Supplements are my new thing because that's like the pinnacle of convenience and value, right? It's just something in the morning, quick and easy. I have tried 5 different meal plan services, and I've tried, 2 different cat litters, because once you find a cat litter you love, you're not really looking to improve that. That's not really a dragon I'm chasing. Pretty happy with Pretty Litter. So I want to reach my goals as conveniently and easily as possible. And this has resulted in something interesting in consumer behavior. This has created a very large distinction between a product that is bought and a product that is kept. So I want you to all think about your bathroom at home, because the bathroom hierarchy really tells all. The bathroom hierarchy is the difference between a product that is on the top of your counter next to soap that you use every day, and the products that you try once and sort of like slot underneath the bathroom sink next to toilet paper, right? That is the difference between a nice to have and a need to have. And your ability to be a product that is bought versus kept all relies on your ability to understand, take action on the routine economy. So let's take a step back for a second and talk about where we're at right now. All of a sudden, the 40-year-old millennial and the 24-year-old Gen Z are in charge. They're in charge in spending, in influence in the economy. Millennials have become the economic driving force in America. They are the largest generation. They make up the biggest percentage of the country's workforce, and they hold the most purchasing power. And we're middle-aged, we're very middle-aged. And I'm finding this to be a really fascinating 2 sides of one coin, is Gen Z and millennials. So in terms of the economy, millennials, I think the collective annual income of 1.8 billion millennials is, $2.7 trillion, and is expected to reach $4 trillion by 2030. Millennials hold the purchasing power for the economy. Whereas Gen Z, they're really the consumer influencers. They're influencing spend. They're seen as the taste makers for this generation, right? This is the role that every generation at this time took on. I remember when this was millennials, and now we're chuggy and we wear no-show socks, which I guess isn't cool. But basically Gen Z tell us what to buy, and millennials buy it. Now, in terms of their priorities, so every single generation, millennials and Gen Z, I think it was 34% of millennials and 28% of Gen Z report to having financially supported their family members. Millennials specifically work in what we call our sandwich era, where we're trying to get enough protein in the day while also raising children and taking care of elderly parents. We have responsibilities that loom large. Whereas Gen Z, there was a survey done on how much people spend on their pets every year, and Gen Z spends an average of $2,000 a year on their pets, which was more than any generation surveyed. So both of these generations are coming to the plate with responsibilities, with things they have to take care of. Now, in terms of what they value, both generations value experiences, being in the social media world, they value experiences over anything else. Millennials are willing to splurge on experiences. They're willing to splurge on those social media worthy moments, whereas Gen Z really are looking for value. They're looking for bang for their buck. They're looking for really making sure that their dollar goes a long way. Now, in terms of their expectation, millennials are probably the last generation we'll see that is truly brand loyal, because we like consistency. We like things to show up when we want it to show up, and we like that it's going to show up in the same way that it does every month, right? Where Gen Z really prioritize variety. They want variety, they want niche, they want hard to find products, they want things that are really unique as part of their identity. Now, in terms of their overall disposition, it's anxiety. It's anxiety all around. It's anxiety for millennials, it's anxiety for Gen Z. 81% of millennials and 75% of Gen Z report to having experienced financial anxiety. The American Psychological Association actually did a survey with 61% of millennials and 51% of Gen Z experiencing workplace stress. So both of these generations are showing up again with a huge amount of anxiety in their day. Now, this anxiety is key. This anxiety is key because what does this lead to? Impulse spending behavior. I think it's 52% of millennials and 44% of Gen Z admit to making impulse purchases to alleviate stress. So both generations are choosing to spend their dollar on things that elevate their everyday. These are things that you can control. This is my routine, right? Routine sits at the intersection of this. I'm spending my dollar on things to elevate my every single day. Routines are something, again, we can control. This is little treat culture. We see this all over social media of, I went to the grocery store, I deserve a little treat. I did my taxes, I'd get to go to Starbucks and pay $9 for a matcha latte, right? These are things that are elevating our every single day. For younger generations, financial goals like buying a house and investing in the future, like 401k, who is she? Can seem sort of out of reach. And so millennials are really spending their money to soothe their economic despair. It's rough out here. It's rough out here all along. Whereas Gen Z are really embracing this mentality of what really matters anyway. Gen Z are really starting to face this disenchantment on capitalism and society as a whole, and they're choosing to spend money on things that elevate their everyday rather than traditional markers of success. Right? And they're using this as an opportunity to prioritize personal enjoyment, and they're indulging in luxury as a means of self-expression and finding moments of joy in an increasingly complex and dark world. So what this means is that the economy is yet again changing. When we first started in a goods and services economy, we were all fighting to avoid commoditization, right? The internet was the greatest force of commoditization in the world, because all of a sudden, I could go online and compare product to product immediately. And this drove everyone to care about three things and three things only: price, price, and price. So this was really the rise of D2C brands. D2C brands could all of a sudden create one-to-one direct relationships with their consumers. They could own the end-to-end experience, they could own product development, they could build one-to-one relationships and dictate that entire brand experience for these buyers. But then we moved to the attention economy, right? You all prioritize digital experiences because that's where your buyers were, that's where we were, that's where we're spending time. But then all of a sudden, attention became commoditized. Attention became the rarest commodity in the economy because there just isn't enough to go around. Again, 9 different sunscreens, right? I am constantly bombarded by my choice. And the attention economy has proven to be expensive. You all know this. Like, you're heading into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, your acquisition costs are getting high in the attention economy. Like, do you remember when the demure and mindful trend took hold? I had like 25 emails of that day of like very demure, very mindful. That day, demure and mindful. So now is the chance for us to evolve to the next level of economic value. Evolve or perish. In order for you to survive in today's world, you have to be embedded in the daily lives of your consumers. It's no longer enough to have a great product. It's no longer enough to go viral. You have to figure out how to be embedded in the daily life, and you have to figure out how to sit at the intersection of convenience and value for your buyer. But I have some good news. Every level of economic disruption is hard and has been hard. Goods and services, attention economy. This one gets a little bit easier because people care about their routines right now. We have never seen people caring so much about their routines. The entire societal zeitgeist has risen up to meet this need, these routines. I am a Huberman Labs podcast listener. I love Huberman Labs. And I actually was listening yesterday, and he's coming out with a book called Protocols, because that's all people fucking want. They just want to know, should I cold plunge, should I not? They want to know if I should mouth tape or should I not? They want to understand the products and the supplements that are actually working. Is it NAD? Is that one? Is it probiotics? Is it green juice, right? People care about these things in their lives because they want to elevate their everyday life. Routines really are the invisible scaffolding. At the end of the day, Millennials and Gen Z have goals. We have big goals, and the only way we can achieve those is by having a steady routine that sort of sets up our lives for success. It's the invisible scaffolding. So we've established that we're living in this routine economy. Let's talk a little bit about how to leverage this for your specific brands. So my very first one of winning in the routine economy is product diversification. This is my favorite. So again, I came from tech. So the whole tech blueprint was that you started as one type of software for one type of buyer, and then you started to eat up more pieces of their routine, right? I did a brief stint at a dental company, and they started as appointment reminders for dental offices. And then they started to figure out how to own online forms, and then they started to own payments, right? This product diversification is such a great strategy, because what better way to be embedded in somebody's routine than by owning their entire routine? Now, I love this option too. I think a lot of recharge brands do this very, very well. They figure out what their tip of the spear product is. So let's say for Array, it's their bloat pills. They're amazing. Barefaced, it's their toning pads, also chef's kiss. And it's a great way for them to say, okay, well, you've been loving this product for a while. Why don't you try our vitamin C? I'm like, I already have 6 vitamin C's, but like, sure, I'm gonna try that one, right? Figure out your product diversification strategy, figure out your tip of the spear product, and then what products you're going to recommend after that. If you don't have a replenishable, find a replenishable in your business. Tushy is a great example of this. So Tushy sells bidets, and how many times do you buy a bidet in your lifetime? I think once, I don't know, someone needs to tell me if I need to renew that. But they instead created replenishables. They started selling toilet paper, and they started selling candles. They started thinking about their category outside of being a bidet company as a bathroom, as a category. And that leads me to my next point. Winning in the routine economy, figure out your damn category. Figure out your category. Casper is my favorite example of this. They were a mattress company. And again, how many times do you buy a mattress in your lifetime? Probably a couple times, right? All of a sudden, though, they decided to evolve into a sleep category. They wanted to own your entire sleep routine. So all of a sudden, I wasn't looking at Casper in terms of a mattress purchase. I was thinking about Casper as a way to get my sleep at night. And so I added the glow lights to my nightstand so I could wake up nice and gently, right? I added the pet beds, the cooling sheets. I started thinking about my routine in terms of this company. Now, this one's my next favorite, is product positioning. So I come from product marketing, again, so I'm biased, but I love product positioning. And now after I show you this, I hope that you guys can look at all of the websites you interact with and go to their product dropdown and figure out how they're positioning their products. It matters. Product positioning is how well somebody can see their challenges and problems in your product. And the biggest challenge I see for brands is transitioning from what do we do versus what do we do for you. So let's take Lululemon as an example here. So I go to Lululemon and I go to their product dropdown and I can search for, let's say, leggings, right? This type of product positioning assumes that I already know what I'm looking for. And Lululemon would be right because I am looking for leggings. But then when I click on leggings, they all of a sudden have to differentiate and tell me why their leggings are better than any other leggings, why they're better than Set Active's leggings, right? Why they're better than, what's another brand? Adenola's leggings, right? You have to get into a feature battle. And they've done a good job, right? They've differentiated based off of their fabrics. They do Align, they do Wonder Train, or you can make it easier for your consumers to see themselves in your products. So if you go down here to the bottom, they've also done it by activity. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at Lululemon and I'm like, I'm dabbling in running. I travel, I like tennis, right? And I'm exploring their product catalog in a different lens based off of what's important to be, based off of what's important and what my goals are. So let's shift to subscriptions, because that's what Recharge does. If you have a subscription routine-based brand, you have to do subscriptions, like especially if your product requires usage to see benefits, like our friends at Vegamore, you have to use Vegamore for at least 3 months before you see results. You just have to. And so of course subscriptions fits into that. If you are a type of brand that requires that type of ongoing usage, make subscriptions the star of your show. Right? Vegamore has done a great job here. There's a subscription CTA in the nav. They've done a subscription benefits page, and they advertise the benefits of switching to a subscription for each product, so you can kind of understand and see. Routine is ever changing. Our friends at Array understand this. Providing optionality on the frequency. I want optionality. Again, we hit 100 million subscribers last spring, and you know how many people changed their subscription or altered their subscription in some way? 53%. 53% of 100 million people altered their subscription in some way during that time period because they require optionality. So Array's done a really good job here where you can kind of figure out if you want a 3-month delivery, a 2-month delivery, a 1-month delivery. But here's the catch that I think Array does very, very well. They advertise the benefits of subscription for using for 2 months. So like 86% of participants felt less bloat and discomfort after 2 months of usage. 74% of participants reported less IBS symptoms and gassiness based off 2 months. So you understand the benefits of subscription and you understand what type of frequency you should probably be ordering in. Now, do you remember the convenience and value, right? Convenience and value, you've got to say the intersection because we are busy and we are bougie. A lot of subscription offerings focus too much on the convenience aspect. Right? Let's just provide a 15% discount. Let's make this nice and easy purchasing decision. Let's just make them not have to worry about having to reorder. This is just auto ship. It's just convenience. The best brands on Recharge are doing the value piece very, very, very well. Whereas I am definitely getting the rewards of having convenience of things shipped to me, but I'm also getting like a little treat. I'm getting like a little reward, or I'm getting some fun packaging or something, or a special discount. I'm feeling part of the club. I'm getting these little moments, these little treats. So we think about brands that build in rewards, a really robust reward system, whether that's milestone-based rewards, whether that's punch card, whether that's credits or cash back. We find a lot of the brands on Recharge have quite a bit of flexibility in what works for their brands, but having some sort of way to build in some value for people has been really critical. So our core belief is that the best brands build their businesses around their best fit customers. You have to leverage routine. You have to figure out what their daily life looks like. You have to leverage subscriptions, and you have to build a compelling subscription experience that goes through the entire customer journey, through conversion. Our friend Brian did a really great job here, through retention, through growth, really understanding the entire journey and how routine and subscription experience fits into that. And we promise it pays off. I know, Recharge pushing subscriptions, groundbreaking, but it does pay off. We know that this pays off, that it nets out in GMV over time. We talked to so many brands. We were talking to one last week that does, I think it's like 10% of their checkouts are on subscription. But their LTV of their subscribers is 7 times more valuable than their one-time purchases. So we were like, if you could just tweak that 10% by an additional 5 of your subscribers, that nets out an insane amount of GMV over the next year. And this matters because it's sustainable revenue. Back to what we were talking about with investors. You have to have a healthy queue of business to make it in today's economy. And the difference between sort of one time and then revenue that you're gonna count on month over month over month over month and forever That's a big difference for you in your business. And so for us, that's our goal at Recharge, is to give you tools that kind of map to every one of these milestones. We understand cancellation prevention, we understand rewards, we understand sort of what these little pieces are for every brand, depending on who your consumer is and what type of product diversification strategy you have and what your goals are as a company. And with that, I just wanted to show a quick video about how brands are elevating the everyday lives of their consumers.
All right, let's do this. Today is your day. Well, maybe not entirely yours, but you're gonna own it because you've got the power of your routine. It's the small things that supercharge you. Your daily rituals give you the confidence and endurance to tackle whatever the day might have in store. Because life can ask a lot of you, but that's okay. When you return home, your routine has your back. It keeps you grounded so you can focus on what truly matters. A great routine catches you at the end of a long day. All the brands you love, right when you need them. The best brands are powered by routine, and the best routines are powered by Recharge. So you can rise, shine, and embrace today and tomorrow and the day after that. You've got this.
And that's it, everyone. Thank you.
Any questions for the largest Recharge section? Questions, comments? You ready? You got hands?
How do I speak? Can you guys hear me? Sweet. Okay, so you're talking about, you mentioned a brand that had 10%, right? In terms of they're worth 7x compared to the normal customer. In ways that you're seeing brands acquire customers for subscription, besides first month free or subscription management to retain, what are other ways that people can get creative to acquire customers? Because everybody wants everyone on a subscription, but now we're all realizing we have 50 different subscriptions. We're trying to get rid of them. So it's like, what are you seeing the top brands doing that's different to really get them to that point?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the best sort of low-hanging fruit that we're finding, so Recharge just came out the win-backs product. Like, we're finding most of the brands that are on Recharge have 7 to 8x inactive subscribers than they do subscribers, meaning you reeled them in at some point. Like, they were excited about their brand promise. They didn't want to bloat anymore at some point, and probably didn't fix all of their problems when they decided to cancel, right? And so figuring out based off of what their cancellation reason was or what the offer that they clicked on originally was, you can target them with a win-back offer.
Okay, secondary question. How do you see, or do you see brands using giveaways as a way to retain business or acquire business without having to double down on discounts? Or have you seen anything in the giveaway space that, I guess, promotes retaining customers and getting new customers through that type of language or avoiding discounts in that way?
Say that first part one more time.
Giveaways. So I'm curious about how you see the impact of giveaways on subscription and what you've seen through all the Recharge customers that you guys have.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think the way that we built the platform was a little bit flexible, that you could figure out an A/B test based off of whether you wanted to provide an offer, a free gift, or what have you. I mean, we're seeing a lot of subscribe and save up front because it's just an easy way to get people into the funnel, and then gifts being saved later. So like, I think it takes like 90 days to solidify a habit. We're finding a lot of the order drop off between being order 3 and order 4. And so a lot of the brands that we see are like using and saving the free gift or the free offer for once somebody's already in the funnel and already a subscriber, just to help pay for that cost. But then there's some brands like Array, and they kind of do it all. Like, there's a subscription, you get a free like L-glutamine on every subscription. They provide all of the benefits beyond that. But there's also a lot of brands that do, like, based on cancellation offers. We had people test like a a discount, a free gift. But I think for a lot of the brands, like I think one of them is an electrolyte company we work with, they just decided to do a different flavor. They were just like, okay, well, let's maybe not give something for free or give a discount, but it's like someone's canceling because they have too much product. Let's like give them a different flavor of something that's focused more on like sports health rather than like daily hydration to kind of help supplant that.
Yeah, that's great. I guess just high level, hearing what Taylor was talking about earlier and what you're talking about seems to be a direct correlation to
No,
profit.
I've got it on my list. I was like, talk to fucking Taylor later. Because I think what's interesting is like, again, I came from tech. 2011, all tech companies switched to subscriptions. Like, that's what they figured out. That's how they figured out how to get their 10 to 20x valuations, because subscriptions and a recurring healthy queue of business was what differentiated them between a brand that lasted and a brand that didn't.
This is what gets me really nervous about this, because I'm trying to harp on my paid acquisition team and going, hey, I want to run a subscription only funnel. I want to do kind of what like the mushroom brands do, where they do a welcome offer, but if you get a new customer in pure subscription through a welcome offer, I'm just nervous about the value of that customer over a long period of time. Have you seen some of your brands, and it might be like the Rise Mushroom Group or a couple other, those like welcome offer subscription, the only way you get it is by subscribing. Have you seen any difference of quality or LTV of those that are just taking the welcome offer versus the ones that are upgrading into subscription at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, once you get in and you cancel after the first order, your LTV is not that great. So you've got to look at that too. You've got to look at sort of what the percentage of subscriptions that your goal is, and then what's your next order. Like that's kind of the next metric we got to look at. Is like, okay, you got subscriptions, you want to get up to 10%, wonderful. Let's not make you bankrupt. Where are you seeing the most order drop off? And we got to figure out how to target order 3, order 4, order 5, depending on the cohort analysis that we do with brands. Okay. Because it is true, exactly what Taylor was saying. Like, you've got to balance, you've got to balance margin with the offer, and you can spend more on subscribers, but like they're a little bit fickle, like I am. But we're really starting to see brands that understand an A/B test, like, okay, maybe I don't want to give 15% or 20% off to save a client, but if they're going to opt into maybe an annual subscription, I can bump that fucking discount up to 30%. Right? So really thinking about how to balance sort of your profit and your pricing too, to make sure that it like is compelling for the person, but also compelling for your business.
We're literally going through this right now because I'm like, do I need to go buy a bunch of, in our case, koozies or sleeves, because I'm going to incentivize with gift rather than a discount. So we're going through this whole financial table across this. This is more of like a selfish, because no one else has questions, and like this, you don't really get a lot of this time. So I'll say, do I want to send my reminder for subscribers to stay from Klaviyo, from my send lane, or from the actual subscription app that I'm using?
This is a spicy question. And it's something we've actually thought a lot about, because I think there's a lot of email tools and text tools that are specifically focused on marketing and acquisition. And once somebody's in the funnel and you're engaging with them, you're kind of marketing to them. I mean, you're in market, it's customer marketing, right? But it's different. There's a lot of those flows that we're kind of considering bringing back into Recharge, just so that it has like a slightly different lens and feeling for, like you said, like those funnels that are specifically catered to people that are already in and bought and happy, that you want to then upsell and grow. At least, I mean, tools aside, those really have to be two separate motions as you think about it. Customer marketing versus acquisition marketing, just.
Because it gets me nervous, like, am I sending a notification through like the @ in Recharge, or is it from my @ my core domain? Like, those are areas I'm like, am I inboxing correctly? Are these gonna hit them at the right time? Like, those are the things that I'm trying to get a good understanding with. But if it's, I guess what I'm hearing from you, and please correct me because I guarantee I'm wrong, I'm gonna send it from my current system I'm using, whether it's the email correlation, because that's what my customers are used to getting. That's what's already inboxed.
It kind of depends. Like we see across the board, like there's a ton of Recharge merchants that use just stick with Klaviyo, and we've got a really robust integration. But I was surprised. I think one of our head of product messaged me about how many texts we send from just Recharge SMS, and I was kind of blown away. So people are still using SMS and email specifically for their subscribers with Recharge rather than using Klaviyo, but it kind of depends.
I feel you. Anybody else on any questions before we let it go? Oh, in the back. I'm gonna walk over there.
If anyone has questions about the top sunscreen, I'm also fielding those questions as well.
Not a sunscreen question. I meant to ask Brian earlier, in terms of keeping people from unsubscribing, offering a gift, offering an extra discount. Are we sort of incentivizing bad behavior? Because if I'm a subscriber and I'm going to cancel, and then they go, oh, we'll give you a free something, then I'm just going to wait the next time and I'm going to threaten to cancel again. So how do you overcome that without training the consumer? And is there a membership benefit advantage for subscription programs to maybe offset giving a discount or a freebie?
Yeah. So when we hit 100 million subscribers this spring, we were like, okay, fuck, what's next? Like, how do we help brands retain these subscribers? So we came out with like a suite of retention tools, and one of them was cancellation prevention. And the goal there was to make sure that we could sort of intercept based off of the cancellation reason with some sort of gift or some sort of offer, right? But what we wanted to add to kind of mitigate that was you could also dictate the offer based off of LTV or spend. So if somebody was spending a lot with your brand, you could be like, I want to give you this. And if one person hasn't spent very much, it's like, well, I maybe only want to give you this, or nothing at all, depending on what your CAC to LTV ratios look like.
So does it capture that and monitor that customer, and they're like, this guy only takes advantage of your offers?
Yeah.
And flag them in some way?
I'm actually not positive, but I do know that there's kind of like a segment within Recharge for bargain hunters that you can kind of understand if somebody's in and out pretty quickly. That can be a segment that you target a little bit differently and don't offer certain things to.
Yeah, we have this we do this on our side. We have to kind of do it manually. There's no real perfect solution for any of the tools that we're doing, but it's basically anybody that activates or purchases off of discounts specifically, that has taken the welcome offer and is only buying on limited release or some sort of promo. It's just, that's like that segment I have in Klaviyo Send Lane. And then when I have to upload it, I'm either suppressing this, because sometimes I'm gonna hit the list, but I don't want, they're only gonna take action on discounts, but I don't want them opening. It's just gonna ruin my overall rate. So I do think you have to segment these ones out. And that's what I was nervous about. I was like, if I'm gonna run an acquisition offer, I don't want them grouped in with my general incredible subscribers that are giving me gnarly LTV. So I see where you're coming from this.
And our brands are starting to get really creative with this. Like Symbiotica is one of my favorite brands. I love Symbiotica's products. Oh yeah! They do this very well because they offer a discount based off of subscriptions, bidding on a subscription, and then it bundles based off of like, are you doing one subscription for like the liposomal vitamin C or the glutathione? Like you can keep adding and getting a bigger discount because they're incentivizing a subscription, they're incentivizing a right habit rather than just sort of the first time offer.
Jen, thank you very much for your time.